Hey guys, it's Masatonic. I'm bilingual Harukist. 皆さん、こんにちは。バイリンガルハルキストのマサトニックです。Haruki Murakami Book Guide Short Story 34 Clubs. So, in this video, I'd like to talk about Murakami's short story, Clubs. This is very interesting and weird story. It's very short one, but uh, and also this has some interesting trivia, so I'd like to mention about it. So let's get started. And as always, this video consists of three parts: first overview, second story, third deep reading. So first overview. This work firstly appeared in English market in Stories magazine 2003 April. Unfortunately, I don't know about this magazine, but is it a familiar one in the English market? But I'm not sure. But in the Stories magazine, this one first appeared, and after that, contained in collection of short stories, Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman, 2006 and July. And maybe I have to apologize for a misannouncement. Earlier this video, always this short story collection, Blind with a Sleeping Woman, I always mentioned about that the publishing date may be wrong. Please, accurate date is this one, 2006 July. This is the first appeared date. Maybe in the other video, I mentioned at maybe 2007 or 9. That is this at this time the hardcover edition had published, and after that paperback had published, or Kindle one had published. Maybe I mentioned that later date. I'm sorry. Right, and this is kind of trivia. And this work, Club, is originally some character in Murakami's other short story, which is named Baseball Ground, had written. And after that, Murakami himself actually wrote it. There is this story, Clubs. So first one, like say some John Irving's novels, some character in the novel made or write a novel. So novels in novels, something like that. And then after that, the novel part had become a novel itself. Sometimes that kind of things happen, like in John Irving's case, say, the world according to Gap, from the world according to Gap, some very short novel had actually published it, something like that. But in this case, it's much more interesting. The baseball ground, unfortunately, baseball ground itself is not translated into English, but that's kind of also interesting one. In baseball ground story, Murakami himself is a kind of narrator, and then he had in the short story he had some experience, some kind of amateur novels or amateur short stories are sent to Murakami's place, and she just took a look at it and had a kind of checked what kind of stories is, and that story who had written by some a character in baseball ground is a club. So in the baseball ground, also basically just refer to the story, what kind of story is, but not just a style of novel. But after that, Murakami himself write as a novel. It's this clubs. So interesting. And also, one thing really interesting point is Stories magazine is really fast appeared phrase, because Japanese versions, a clubs means in Japanese clubs we call kani. It's not published at this stage. When so of course, baseball ground in the Japanese original title is Yakyujo is of course published in Japanese. It's actually it's published in 1980s, but after that, Murakami made a short story from Yakyujo Kani, and their Japanese original text doesn't published And with using that text, translator Philip Gabriel did a translation from Japanese to English, and the translated one, this one, Crabs, appeared first in Stories magazine. And after that, in Japan, Blind Willow Sleeping Woman short story collection had re-imported from English market to Japanese market as a Japanese book. And at that time, actually, that was much more later, 2009, maybe, but later, after publishing an English version. And at that time, first appeared this crabs or Japanese version, kani, as a Japanese original text. So it's a kind of interesting trivia. So what kind of story the crab is? Let's take a look at it. It's very short story, and protagonist is a young man and also a young woman, and they visit Singapore during their holidays and having a nice stay there. And the first day of Singapore, they happen to find some restaurant in Singapore near beach, and that it's a kind of a restaurant which is located a back alley, and she the girlfriend of a protagonist think thought that the restaurant would be nice because she had a kind of sixth sense to find a very cheap and still nice restaurant. At first, protagonist just curious about that. This is a Singapore, so to the Japanese people, it's a foreign country and some unknown place, unknown restaurant, and also menu is only listed in the outside of the restaurant. There's no menu, so they couldn't tell what kind of a cuisine they offered. But she insisted on, please trust me. So they decided to take a dinner at there. And then they found that the main cuisine was the clubs. And then they found it's really delicious and also cheap. So they very like it, this restaurant. So during their Singapore stay, just a few days though, they keep on visiting this same restaurant every days and every night, and they enjoying a delicious and cheap clubs. Yeah, and the last day's night, as always, they enjoyed a club's cuisine, and after returning to hotel, and they got sleep, but the protagonist just the moment she fell into bed, he started to feel nauseous, and then sorry, it's kind of nasty, but he had a vomit, and he couldn't stop vomit himself, and he found the the contents of, of what he vomit. And of course, that's a club's meat, such a white one, and then but he 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 thought it's weird because there a white crab's meat looks like moving, and then take a closer look. He found there's on the surface of the crab's white meat, there's some same color, same white, very small, kind of worms are moving around the white crab meat. So in the same color, it looks like a crab's meat itself, but it's not a meat, but kind of worms, and it's so nasty, and he vomited again, and then he feels very bad feeling about this, and but still his girlfriend still keep on sleeping, as if she had no trouble at all. So and then he think about a during this Singapore stay and her decision to take a dinner at that club restaurant, and also um, he only himself um, how, how say notice there's something wrong with the club itself, but she is not noticed about clubs. That kind of things she keep on thinking, and then finally he had a conclusion that maybe he couldn't sing with her same as before, and then just before dawn he had noticed he had conclusion also in the future he will not have a clubs anymore in the end. So there is a story, kind of weird. So just find a nice restaurant and enjoy a delicious and cheap clubs, and finally he had vomit and he had noticed he couldn't have the same relationship with her, and also that was the last time he enjoyed clubs. That is the story. So how we could enjoy it are my tips of deep reading. First, let's visit Singapore and try clubs even after reading this story. I don't know, Singapore is famous for clubs cuisines or not. Actually, clubs is Shanghai is very famous for club cuisine. In Japan, we call it Shanghai Gani. I don't know in English Shanghai clubs or something like that. It's very famous. And of course, in Singapore, there are so many Chinese people there. So maybe there are some famous clubs restaurant also. But in Japan, also some a coastside area is quite familiar, quite popular with the such a club cuisine, especially in Hokkaido area. It's very famous for club cuisine. So, but yes, so Singapore. Actually, I've been once to Singapore, just 1.5 day stay, but at that time, just I tried some local restaurant, but not a club cuisine. So next time I had an opportunity, I'd like to try a club's cuisine. So, but beware to such a uh, nosy, but I'm not sure how should we protect ourselves from such a terrible situation. I'm not sure, but just still, I'd like to try it. And also, let's think about the meaning of clubs. Maybe in this short story, clubs could be some metaphor. Maybe clubs imply something other things. Uh, maybe and it's just my instinct, but Singapore, the location Singapore, and also clubs that are how to say a connection is I think kind of some could have some meaning. Uh, so far, I didn't have I don't have any direct answer from to this question, but I think it's very interesting way to how to deeply reading a short story. So let's think about the meaning of clubs, and also, sorry, this is oh, it's typo. Very um, difficult task, a tips or how to say challenge or to do to the non-Japanese people. But if you have a chance, opportunity, or a Japanese knowledge, let's try Japanese text baseball brand. In Japanese, yakujo. It's a contained in the other short story collections are um, uh, Death Hit of the Carousel. In Japanese, 回転木馬の Unfortunately, that short story collection is not translated as the same format in Japanese. And this one, Baseball Brand, is also not translated into English. But if you have a Japanese knowledge, let's try it. And let's read both one, baseball ground and clubs. Maybe could have you could find something more deeply, and you could enjoy more deeply. Right. So this is a club. So thank you for watching my a a book guide video. I hope this video would make you read this Murakami's interesting work. And also, if you had already read this one, still this video could make you want to read again. I'm really glad. Right. Okay. And if you like this video, please give me a good rate, and I would appreciate if you subscribe my channel. Right. So see you next video. Until then, bye.